Hello, everybody. This is Teen Title Talk with Erin
and Courtney.
This is the podcast
where two librarians discuss two YA books every 2 weeks.
Courtney, you're back.
I am.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Courtney's been on maternity leave if you have been or haven't been listening. So yeah, you feeling good?
Feeling pretty good.
And you got some reading in?
I got a tiny bit of reading in. I don't want anyone to think that I had all this time to read because...
No.
Well, I probably did, but I was too busy just not doing that.
And holding an adorable baby.
Yeah, the holding of the baby.
Who requires you. Yeah, the holding of the baby is a lot.
It takes up all your arm area.
That's
that
true.
Otherwise would be taken up by a book.
You could do the ebooks and just swipe.
I could, or I could listen to books, I'm realizing
That's
now.
true.
Oh well.
Oh well, but you read this one. So
I
that's
did.
great.
I did, and I couldn't stop reading it. It was so good.
Awesome. All right. So today we'll be talking about the books. I read Ship of Smoke and Steel by Django Wexler. And what did you read?
I read Seafire by Natalie C. Parker.
Awesome. And they're both adventure. Our theme this time was adventure. But before we do that, we have to dip into our jar of teen angst. This time we're not really dipping into the jar technically because we did get some listener questions.
That's
so
exciting.
These are straight from
we have listeners.
That's great. So this one is from Samantha. What did you do or say to someone that you still cringe at? I'm going to let you start because I'm still cringing about it.
Okay, well...
Tell me.
All right, so...
All right.
It was an uncomfortable moment wherein I was describing a student I went to high school with. So this was my first year of college, I think.
Okay.
And I was describing a girl I went to school with. And I went to college 3.5 hours away from where I lived. So I didn't go to college with anybody I had known. So I had to describe all these cast of characters that you've known forever.
Yeah.
And so this one particular girl I was describing, when we were in 9th grade, she got pregnant. And she had such a way about her that was just, she had a posse of friends who protected her from, and looking at it back now, I'm thinking, wow, good for her for surrounding herself with people who supported her
No kidding.
and loved her. Go her.
That's great.
But at the time, it was kind of intimidating and a little scary.
Okay, gotcha.
And so you couldn't even look at her because they were quick to pounce on you. And so I did a vocal impersonation of her, and it was very offensive to the person I was telling.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I'm still, and after I did it, I was like, oh, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Okay. And then after that, I felt like a really big jerk. So anyway,
So you thought about it multiple times.
I think about it a lot because I'm like, why? I don't know. It's one of those things that just plays over in my mind.
Yes, exactly.
I can't make it leave.
But it's probably never come up again, and probably that person, I don't know if that person has ever thought of it again. Maybe.
I hope not.
It's possible that she does, but I kind of think sometimes, you get stuck on something and then it just
I know. It's made me never want to do impersonations of people.
Because it could be perceived as anything.
Yeah. It wasn't great.
Okay, gotcha.
How about you?
So I'm going to go with what did you do instead of what did you say, because it said what did you do or say. There's so many to choose from. I feel like most of my adolescence, when I look back on it, is cringeworthy.
The do part.
What did you do or say?
Gosh, I have a lot of those.
I had a lot of says, but what did I do? I had a friend who, let's just call him Alex.
Is that his real name?
No.
Let's call him Alex because that's his name.
I would be like, all right, I'll drive over to your house. You sneak out the window and I'll pick you up over a couple houses down. And so he would, and I felt awful now looking back on it, first of all, because I was 3 years older than him. And so that's not cool.
You were pressuring him to sneak out.
I know.
Oh, and you were cool, so he wanted to be cool too.
I guess. I don't know. Anyway, this one day, and we were not, it's not, we'd go steal signs, but that was not what we were doing. This time we just went to a friend's house and there were people hanging out but there was somebody I really liked there. Specifically my husband now, today.
This sounds like that has a happy ending.
No, not really, because I was just like, I think I was just kind of like, it's not a big deal if I leave this kid here.
Oh,
and I left.
So you ditched him.
Yeah. I like asked him to leave his house. Or maybe he wanted to. I don't know.
It makes me feel good, though, that you feel bad about it. Because
Awful.
I have been ditched before.
Oh, I feel awful.
And it felt terrible. I wrote about it extensively in my diary.
Good. And as you should have, and I think you were in the right to feel horrible.
I definitely forgave
Okay.
the ditcher because everyone's been a ditcher at one point or another.
And it wasn't malicious. It was like,
you're just thinking of yourself.
Yeah, that's a dick
No,
move.
but like that's your brain is wired that way when you're a teenager. Like,
I know.
You're thinking
it's
of
so
number
awful.
one.
And then I don't even know how he got home, and I haven't been able to talk to him about it ever since.
What?
And I feel like I should just, I don't know, touch base on that.
Do you think he listens to this podcast?
I am very doubtful. He's away doing his grand life. I think he's a chef now. He's very busy. He's been like in the islands doing wonderful things. He seems totally fine. I mean, completely not
Maybe
a big deal for
maybe
him.
it was the best thing that
Probably
ever happened to him.
No,
like
dude.
maybe that day he like something clicked in his brain and he was like, "Wow,
Courtney, we cannot take credit for his successes because of my awfulness.
I'm trying." Yeah, you're
No, I appreciate the effort, but no. So I cringe all the time. I'm like, should I message him and just
It can't hurt.
apologize
Just be like, you know
formally
what?
and be like,
Sometimes
that
I
was
think about
awful, and
this
I'm
moment.
really sorry about
And
that.
he'll be like, "I forgot all about it," or he'll be like, "You know what? It sucked really bad.
yeah, and
Thanks
I'm
for your apology."
okay.
And you can move on with your
Maybe.
life.
Yeah. Not that hung up on it that I haven't been able to move on, but you're right. I would feel better. Gotta let go of some baggage. So
Right.
This one is actually interesting because it kind of takes a similar vein from Brenda. Is there a moment when you wish you had stood up more fiercely for something, i.e. someone being harassed, wanting that cool dress for prom, etc.? Did you ever?
I mean, I'm sure. Basically, my MO in high school was don't stand out / be noticed /
Okay, right.
anything. Right. So, like, I mean, among my friends, I had a great time. I didn't have a bad time in high school at all. But standing up for somebody or something or whatever was just, like, not in my
repertoire.
Right, because that would have made me
Challenging somebody.
Right, it would have brought attention to me
I gotcha.
in a way that was uncomfortable. And so actually there are some things that I wish that I had done specifically. I remember, I'm dating myself now. This was probably 1999.
The 90s, yeah.
And I was a young high schooler, so like, I don't know. Maybe I was a freshman, maybe I was a sophomore, I don't remember. And someone came over to me and they said, "Do you want to join?" I don't remember what the club was called, but basically it was the LGBTQ club at school. And I was mortified that they would have asked me.
Oh, gotcha.
Because this was not I mean, I feel like, I don't know, I hope things have changed a lot.
Sure.
In the past 20 years.
I think they have. I feel like they have.
But 20 years ago, I was like, oh, God. Do I look like I should be in that club? Like,
I gotcha.
It was like, it had a whole, they were not well accepted at school.
It was like more stigmatized
totally
at that
stigmatized, especially at my school. I don't know why. And that is a moment that I really wish that I had just been like, sure.
Because
like,
today you'd totally be like, yeah.
I'd be like, sign me up. Do I get out of class? Do I get to like meet a bunch of new friends? Then yeah, I'm there.
Yeah, gotcha.
But at the time I was like, I don't know, it's not for me, I don't think. Okay, bye. And then like never spoke to that girl again. So that's not great.
Oh, no, but that's...
And I didn't have hard feelings. I was terrified more than anything.
It was. And I think that's a lot of the initial awkward response in high school, you know, it's like, or middle school too. It's just like, it's not malicious necessarily. It's kind of like, okay, what presumptions are you making about me? Or how will this make me look? And it's like fear-based instead of necessarily
Yeah, so I do definitely
evil.
regret that and wish that I had stood up, not only like joined them, but like could be like, hey, all my other friends who are cool, let's like all do this together. It's like a really fun club to be in.
Cool. I think that, well,
So that was something I wish I had done.
well, I can and it's one that my mind hinges on a lot. And I've apologized to my sister for it multiple times. I'm sure I've told you this. I don't know if we talked about it on the show, but when I was probably 12, so this is young, not even teen, but this is the one that sticks out. My sister, there was like a kid in my class who was kind of a bully for whatever reason. He was struggling with some stuff. And I don't know why, but he like picked up my little sister and started to swing her by the arms around and around. Only it was like on a hill. So
How
if he
old was
let
she?
go, so she was only like she's 5 years younger than me. So she was only 7.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So he's swinging her, and they're on this hill. So every time she goes over the hill, it's like if he lets go, she's gonna fly straight
my
out
gosh.
and then like
Oh my
crash
gosh.
down on this hill. And this hill was pretty steep. But I was worried that if I was like, because he's like, how do you like this? Should I do this? Should I? If I was like, oh no, stop, he would get what he wanted out of it,
yeah.
and that he would throw her.
So you were trying to,
So
like,
I was
ignore-
like playing it cool. I was
Yeah.
like, whatever, we're fine. And I'm like getting closer and closer, and I'm like, well, it doesn't bother me. But I wasn't leaving because obviously I like needed my sister to be okay.
Yes.
And so he eventually kind of just flopped her on the ground, and I ran over and was like, are you okay? But I was,
Was she scared?
I wish I'd gone over and just like pushed him and
Yeah.
at the right time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had punched people at that point. It's not like I was like shy about it. I
Was
wasn't
he
the
scary though? Like, was he intimidating in some way?
same. Not particularly. He was bigger than me, but I don't know. It was mostly the hill and the precariousness of like if he let her go at what point, and I don't know. So I was just kind of trying to play it like it was no biggie, and I think she was kind of doing that too. She was like, ha 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 ha, oh fun, because we both had that kind of attitude. If there's anything like the sister I'm most similar to is Casey, and so we'd both kind of had that like, oh, nothing's gonna bother us, whatever. And so, obviously it was bothering me, and it still does because I think of it often, and I apologize every once in a while. I'm like, Casey, remember that time? And she's like, starts laughing. It's both totally fine, but it
That's
stressed
good.
me out. I wish I had done something differently
Stood
in
up
that
for
moment.
her.
Something.
I know.
Knocked him out. Just knocked him flat. Should have
Yeah.
done that if I could reach his face. I don't know.
It's hard to see your siblings like be, I don't know, messed with,
I know.
but also want to like not seem like a, I don't know.
Well, I just didn't want him to actually let her go. Like, I thought it was
You
just
thought
going to
that it
make
would,
it
like,
worse.
egg him on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, yeah.
It probably wouldn't
gotta
have.
let that go. I don't know.
He probably just would have been like, you guys are no fun.
Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows what would have happened? Well, however it went, you both lived to tell
Thank
the tale.
God. All right, so this
Okay.
last one is from Alyssa. What was your most prized possession as a teen? Hi, Alyssa. Sorry, that's our Alyssa who used
hi,
to work
Alyssa.
at the
It's
library.
so nice to hear from you. I had a lot of possessions as a teen.
Oh,
You might have called me
really?
a hoarder. My mom would have. I had a lot of things.
All of your stuff.
I had so much stuff, and I loved all of my stuff.
Like what? Give me a vision of your room. Like, what did you
my-
have in
okay,
there,
so
Courtney?
it's very bright yellow.
Okay.
You can envision this because
Sunny.
you've been to my house.
Yes.
Where I still have a very bright yellow room.
I
love
like the yellow.
So extremely bright yellow. I've got stuffed animals everywhere, like SpongeBob and bears and like all kinds of stuff. And I have a whole floor to ceiling shelf, bookshelf that is not filled with books. It is full of dolls.
I love it.
So, like Barbies that I had collected that were like had come on stands or that I didn't take out of the box.
Yes.
Those were like I loved them.
Yes. Prized
Why?
possession.
I
Sure.
don't know why.
Yeah, a lot of people keep stuff in boxes.
And I had like my American Girl doll, which I loved very much, Kirsten.
I had Kirsten
I
too.
had all her little things.
Nice.
And I would like sometimes arrange them
That is
Just
so nice. Like a
so.
window display, Courtney?
Yeah, like I had like a little display. Yes, yes, as
Wow.
though it was like my own little store. And I
Aw.
like set up all her, like she was at school and she would sit on her little thing and eat her little lunch.
Aw.
Oh my gosh. So that was like that. And it had like, I think one shelf had books on it. And then I had all these like, like posters of like Devon Sawa. And he was Casper, right?
Did you have? Yeah. Maybe,
Yeah.
I don't know. But I know when you say Casper, I know who you're talking about.
And not Jonathan Taylor Thomas, who's not my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, I liked his friend, Ryder Strong. And by his friend, I mean his friend on the show.
Got it. Of course.
Anyway, so a few pictures of Ryder Strong, things like that. Just like, a lot of crap everywhere, a lot of little doohickeys. But I had a rock collection that I loved also.
Nice.
It was in a box, like a shoe box.
Mm-hmm.
And I had made these little like paper dividers.
You'd
and I
organize this.
bought all these rocks at Odeon Point.
Sure.
And
Were they like the smooth ones?
not all
Or
of
not?
them.
Okay.
One of them was like, most of them were. But one of them was like a purple, like amethysty type, jaggedy
Interesting.
thing. And I had like the little labels for them all, like what they are,
Right.
where they're found.
I love that. That's so telling about you.
Oh, and I still have some of those rocks.
my
So, maybe that was my most prized possession
Right.
because I still have them. Mm-hmm. They're not in the box though anymore. They're just in a little bowl.
Right.
It makes me
I
look
love that
cool
you
now
have them.
because now like crystals and stuff are like a thing.
Well, clearly
Turns
they
out
were
I
a
was
prized
collecting
possession
rocks.
if you still have them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I can't seem to get rid of them.
Where are you going to put them out? Just out in the yard?
They collect, well, that would be, all the other rocks would be jealous.
Yeah, that's
They're
true.
so pretty.
They're flashy.
Yeah. What about you?
I was also thinking of ones that, like, as you're talking, ones that I still have. So there's a couple that I still have, which is I have a box of quill pens and ink.
Ooh.
And so that was one of my prized possessions. I would write with that in my journal all the time. So obviously my journal. Any kind of candles, I had like a desk that had just wax like pouring down the down all over it.
Ah, cool.
Which was really cool looking, but also not great once you get it off, to get it off. But the other thing, one of those candles, I still have. It's on my writing desk, and it's a fairy candle. And she's looking into a pool, and the pool is a tea light. And so when you light the tea light, it's like lighting
Wait,
up
is
her
she a
face.
candle too?
She's made of wax, but she's not melty.
I
so
had a wizard candle,
that's awesome.
but he got a little melted
know, I'm
in the sun or
sorry.
something.
That is sad.
Anyway, continue your
I'll keep
story,
it away
sorry.
from the window.
Do.
I think those were my most prized possessions.
Oh, you loved your candles.
Yeah, my
I
candles.
love that.
And my wizard poster.
Wait, was it just like a random wizard?
It's a wizard, and he had a cool study. Had tons of books all around him,
Oh
and
my
candles, more
gosh.
candles.
I love that.
And I had journals, and I had like my Breakfast Club poster up on the ceiling, and yeah, a couple other things like that. But those were my favorites. Obviously, books. I liked books too, but
Oh, fun.
alrighty. Well, let's
Connecting
move.
with my teen self
I know
always
it's
just
so
makes
bad.
me hate myself. So it's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
It's
Isn't it
all right.
fun? All right, so send us more questions, guys. Though we do have a nice pile in the jar now, but I'm always up for more. So, Courtney, let's do book talk. Tell me about Seafire by Natalie C. Parker.
It was cool. I'll tell you that much.
All right, let's hear.
I could not put it down. I read it in 2.5 days.
Awesome.
And it's about a girl named Caledonia who her mom was the captain of a ship.
Yeah.
And so she's sort of continuing on
So
this
she knows this
tradition.
trade. Yes.
Yes. She grew up on a ship.
Okay, cool.
And the ship is destroyed. And she is one of the only survivors. So she resurrects this ship, names it something new.
Okay.
And like sails around collecting other lost girls, I guess you could say. And so she has a whole crew of just like teen girls who sail and
That's
try
awesome.
and destroy they live in this world where there's like an overlord kind of. His name is
Okay.
Eric with an A. And he wants control over all the resources of the region
Okay,
and stuff
sure.
like that. So he gets his army to be, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what the word is. Basically, he drugs all the people in his army to make them stay with this special flower.
Oh, that
that's
one on the cover.
Yes.
Ah.
Called the bale flower.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And so it's highly addictive.
Okay, gotcha.
And so they destroy they try
Good for
to
them.
destroy all the barges that have this drug on it.
Ah, okay.
To make it harder for him to recruit.
I gotcha.
Yeah, so
Cool,
it's
cool.
pretty exciting.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I loved it.
Cool. All right. And I read The Ship of Smoke and Steel by Django Wexler, and also a ship.
Yes.
But Ahsoka, I'm not exactly sure about her pronunciation. She is basically a warrior who has the power from Melos, which is one of these 9 wells of sorcery, and she wields this power, which is basically the power of war. And so she's an incredible soldier. And so what she does at the beginning, we see her she's working for the criminal overlords in this ward, and she goes out and takes care of business, kills a lot of people for money to protect her sister from basically the life that she has. So instead of her sister having to be out on the streets, her sister is tucked away in a comfortable place where it's nice. Unfortunately, that makes her sister collateral, right? So
Yep.
what happens is Ahsoka gets caught eventually, and she gets sent to this ship called Soliton, and it's this massive ship, this world on a ship, and people don't come back from there, except for the criminal overlord is like, I'm sending you there not to get rid of you. I want you to take over the ship. We want it. If you don't do this within this amount of time, your sister's going to be out on the...
Oh, dear.
So she gets onto the ship and obviously tries to start working on this takeover. Somehow she's got to get everybody into her alliance, and how's she going to do that? It's really cool. I enjoyed it immensely.
Cool.
So let's talk about your book first. Obviously, this was on the ocean. This was a big ocean journey.
Yes.
How was the setting and atmosphere?
So
Did
much
it feel
ocean.
amazing, atmospheric? Did the ocean speak to you? Did the author deploy stunning oceanic metaphors? Tell me about that aspect.
I was super drawn in.
Okay, so the world was cool.
It was cool. It's easy enough to envision. I mean, because you've seen the ocean. But
have.
But have you? It was easy to imagine what she was painting. I think she just did a really nice job of creating a setting that you can envision. The harder part was, there's a lot of sailing lingo.
Okay, gotcha.
So that was a little bit harder
Okay.
because just even understanding where on a ship
You are. Sure.
requires some knowledge of boat speak,
Sure.
which I don't
You
know.
don't have. Okay, got it.
But it didn't stop me from enjoying it.
Okay,
And
you could still grasp kind of where you were?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
totally. And there's parts where they're going up against these sort of islands called the Bone Mouth, and she's really good at navigating along there, but a lot of other people can't, and so that's where they can get provisions and stuff. It's safe for her.
Right.
And that was well described. And when they go up to a
Nice.
port, it was really cool. They had all these systems of levers and pulleys that
Oh,
take
interesting.
you up on these elevator type things, into a
cool.
mountain. It was cool. So yeah, it's really neat.
All right, how about the motto? So on the cover of this book, it says, "Sisterhood is survival." What does that mean in the context of the book? Are they talking about real sisters or sisters by bond? And of course, does that motto fit you and your own sister?
Sisters by bond.
Okay.
So
Right, because you said she gathered them
yeah.
kind of
So
throughout the
Calla
journey.
and her best friend Pisces both grew up on this ship.
Okay.
And their families lived on the ship with a bunch of other families. And they were basically rebels trying to avoid detection and survive without being made a part of Eric's army. So her mother was more like, save as many people as you can and we'll just exist in our own little ship world.
Okay.
But Calla, once that whole life is destroyed, and I don't want to give away how it is destroyed.
Okay.
She feels immense guilt. She feels like it's all her fault. And so she seeks revenge, essentially.
Got it.
And so her whole thing is saving people and then being a leader to them so that they can go out and like do these missions of slowly attacking all of Eric's resources and stuff. And so the sisterhood is really important because they have to totally trust each other and themselves to be able to complete their missions.
Well, yeah.
And they have to trust her.
So is that like you and your sister, do you think? That trust, that bond?
We do have quite a bond. It's kind of funny. It's taken a long time. I'm 34. She's 30. When I was in high school, I would have been like, ugh, my sister.
Right. There wasn't a life or death situation right there.
No.
Probably if there had.
No, I was just kind of like, meh. But now I feel like as we've gotten older, our bond has gotten much stronger.
That's
so it's
cool.
nice, and I love her very much.
Aww.
Allison.
All right. With such a large cast, did you find that the characters were all interesting and unique? And did you have a favorite one of the sisters?
It was a large cast. There were a couple of losses that were really sad.
Oh, no.
I know.
Well, yeah, I guess you would have to.
Happen.
I know. Sure.
I kept being like, oh, I hope they don't kill this person. But just like watching a favorite show, you know?
Yes. They're always being killed off.
Yeah. I did find that almost all the characters were, I think, interesting, the ones that they got into. And they were all kind of different in their own way.
Yeah.
They're all from different regions or whatever, so they all had interesting different backstories. I think my favorite, though, was Haim, H-I-M-E. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing it right.
Okay.
They call her Lovely. Because when they rescued her, she seemed like she was so young and small and perfect.
Aww.
But actually, she's like super fierce. And they never, Calla will never like let her be in battle, but she's actually a super good fighter.
Right.
And she's also really good at healing people.
Cool.
And she speaks in sign language. So we're never told. She can understand what people are saying, so we're never told, like, if something happened to her that she can't speak anymore.
Okay, gotcha.
But she does speak in sign, and everybody understands her just
cool.
fine. And she's really an interesting, cool character, and she's the only character that really ends up getting to go home.
Oh, sweet.
All
right.
But, yeah.
All right. So how about action and adventure scenes? I don't want you to give too many spoilers away, but can you tell me a little bit about your favorite scene? Something that had like a lot of...
There were probably 3 or 4 very intense battle scenes.
Okay, gotcha.
They're bloody. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things happening.
Okay.
Including with, like, weapons that I'm not 100% sure that I'm envisioning properly.
Got it.
Because sort of, like, steampunk-esque. Like, I wasn't sure if it was the future or the past.
Okay.
They kind of meshed together.
Combo or...
Yeah. And so there was a lot of, like, cool mechanical stuff that was happening. Mm-hmm. But I think one of the coolest moments is happening right around the climax. Like, right before the climax of the book.
Right.
And... they're waiting for this one ship that they've been talking about the whole book, essentially.
Right.
And they finally see it, and they're ready to act. And the ship that they need to attack has an entirely electrified hull.
Oh my gosh, okay.
And so it makes it impossible.
Well, yeah, to get on board.
To get on it without being electrocuted.
Gotcha. A handy defense.
Indeed. So, 2 of the characters, Haim actually, and Amina, who's like really good at tech stuff.
Yeah.
have created this like counter weapon essentially that they deploy onto the ship to short circuit it.
Oh,
and then they
interesting.
all like turn their ship around and all like ram into the other ship and jump on, and
Oh my
it's
God.
very exciting.
Cool. That sounds awesome.
Yes.
All right. How about read-alikes? What read-alikes are out there for people who love seafaring, high-action sisterhood stories like this one?
Gosh, I should have done more research because I forgot about
That's
this
okay.
question.
But I just realized that
Yours probably is one.
because as you're talking about it, I'm like, you know who would also like this?
Mm-hmm.
The people who like Ship of Smoke and Steel.
Yeah, probably. There aren't. So mine is less fantastistical than yours. in
Okay,
that,
right,
Like
that's true.
It's no magic,
Okay.
no monster stuff. But I do think it would appeal still to people who love adventure.
It's got the high
stories.
action. It's got the sisterhood bond. There's
There's
good backstory
so much action.
to
Yes.
to the families.
Yes. Let's see. Other good sisterhood books. Is like seafaring and sistering like a thing right now?
I don't think so.
Oh, we just happened to pick two books.
I totally accidentally. So that's fine. We can go with those two. Both of these like kind of match in a way. I think
Yeah.
they're good read-alikes. All right. Do you have
Robinson
questions?
Crusoe.
That's a little bit of a throwback.
I've never even read it.
I think they're going to be disappointed if they read Seafire and then Robinson Crusoe. But maybe not.
Count of
Maybe
Monte
not.
Cristo, maybe?
Maybe. I
Again,
don't know.
I've actually
Again,
also
a
never read that.
throwback.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Go for it. What are your questions for
So
me?
our books are about sisters,
Mm-hmm.
seafaring. So in my book, I've already said the sisters are like the sisterhood of girls
Yes.
who lost their families. But your book is about blood sisters.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you have very close relationships with your sisters.
Yes.
You have more than one.
I do.
Lucky you. And you write frequently in your own books about families and family relationships. So like, did the relationship in Wexler's book feel familiar to you?
Yeah, I think it was great. I mean, I felt like Asaka definitely took on the role of the older sister, and that felt authentic, even though I'm not, obviously, from the story at the beginning, I'm not a protector of my little sister. In fact, my little sister was the captain of the wrestling team. So she would more likely jump into something for me than me for her. However, the desire to do so is there. Like, I would do anything for my sisters. So that definitely felt authentic. We don't see a lot of the sister relationship just because Asaka's being thrown into so much.
yes.
And her sister is away. So we do see it at the beginning, but then basically she's just thrust into this adventure. And so we don't see them sitting together much, chatting their relationship. But we do know that the whole motivation, her entire motivation is because of her sister. I mean, that's why she's doing what she's doing.
Does it feel then that like the sister is just a plot mover alonger?
I had that initial like, oh, is this happening just because we need, there to be such leverage for her, because she's so incredibly strong that I don't see who she couldn't beat. But I think it works because it's so in depth and he's made it very authentic. So I bought it.
Good.
And I was okay with it ultimately.
good.
If it had been like less thorough, I would have been like, no, you're just taking a shortcut there. But no, it was good.
Good. So I read the Goodreads synopsis of your book, and as you've already said, your main character has special fighting abilities,
Right.
like super soldier.
Right.
And she's supposed to be going into the army or something like that, but instead they have her do this other thing.
Yeah, she basically gets captured by these super magical beings and sent onto this ship to take it over. So she is being used even when she's on this ship. She's
yes.
like going in for this. I don't remember the name of the person who sends her, but they're obviously extremely powerful.
So it reminded me kind of about this discussion that's happening right now in current events, which is whether women should be eligible for the draft because
right.
they can be in combat roles.
Right.
So I wonder, like, obviously this isn't a direct comment on that because
Right.
that's a very recent discussion.
Sure.
But I do wonder if there's anything in the book that you feel like is sort of a comment on current affairs?
Like if he was making some commentary? Or...
Yeah, like about
know
girl
what?
power.
You know what?
or-
I didn't. I don't think it is commentary just because there's no debate about her strength. It's just straight up like, and so when I think of commentary, I'm thinking like, oh, we're having a debate about
That's
that. And that's
interesting.
what the combat debate is about,
Yes.
right? And there is no debate. She, like her power is unmatched and her strength is unmatched. Really, among the people she's has to fight, doesn't matter based on gender. It's like that's not even brought up, really.
That's so interesting because in
Yeah.
my book it is brought up a lot.
Really?
Yes, like
Interesting.
a ship of girls. Impossible. Like things like that happen a lot. Or like she'll be like, I'm the captain of the ship, and he'll be like, a girl.
Oh yeah,
So,
but it
like-
almost feels like that. Yeah, because
So it's
her
interesting.
world. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this one, and I appreciated that about this one. It was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's her doing her thing. There's no question about it, and
That's kind of cool.
And I like that. So I don't know if Django Wexler had a thought about, like, well, as far as representation is concerned, I'm going to create a strong female protagonist or something like that. I don't know if that was in his mind or.
that's interesting because mine did feel kind of like a
Okay,
commentary.
gotcha.
Because of those comments.
Right.
So that's interesting.
And I think that's interesting. I think I really appreciated that it was just she was just very much her own character and there wasn't that commentary. I liked that about it. It just didn't feel unnatural for her to
Cool.
be so powerful.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
love a
don't-
powerful
Hopefully
gal.
I answered that.
No, you did. So, switching gears a little bit, let's talk about world building.
Mm-hmm.
I do sometimes have a hard time, especially with fantasy. I love fantasy, but it can be hard to get into the world.
Sure.
Because there's sometimes because so much world building has to happen.
Right.
That it can sometimes take a while for me to get my bearings.
Sure.
Did you feel like you could jump right in, or was there like a little bit of a, what are we doing here?
Yeah, where am I? What's going on? And I think I can get my bearings much faster if the world is similar to our world. This one, once we're on the ship, it's very interesting. And there are familiar things like mushrooms growing all
Oh.
because it's kind of soggy. I think he was very thorough with descriptions. And I appreciated that because I was first like, okay, there's this big steel ship, and is this going to be like, am I going to be able to envision it? It's so massive. But every time we're in a new area, he takes the time to describe it, and what creatures even are there, who's around. So I that was actually something I really appreciated about his writing style was the patience and the time he took to describe. I actually was very immersed in the world. I could
Oh,
see pretty
excellent.
much everything.
You have an
So-
excellent imagination as well.
Well,
Were there a
thank
lot
you.
of creatures?
There were.
Ooh.
Actually, kind of ties into your next question, I think.
Oh, okay.
Is your next one about the evil guy?
No,
Or-
that
oh,
was
okay.
but we can do that one
Okay,
next.
yeah.
So tell me about the bad guy.
Yes.
Was there more than one? Is there like one ultimate bad guy? Was he formidable or she?
Right. So what's kind of interesting is like there's so many bad guys before the
right.
mysterious bad one. I think the major bad one is it's like interesting because it's so mysterious, but there are so many creatures and bad guys. I'm using quotations that she runs into beforehand, and
Like
it's,
mini bosses and then
yeah, but also creatures.
Yeah, I love it.
So some of my favorite fight scenes were these ones where she was fighting creatures. There's a giant crab. Huge. Well, there are several, but this one that she fights, it's like the first creature fight scene, which I thought was really cool. And then there's the hammerhead, which was my favorite fight scene where she
Whoa.
she's in his mouth at one point. That's where she has to slay him, like jumping down onto his tongue. It was very cool. So, it's never, her wins are never easily bought. There's always like this pretty intense nemesis. And I loved the cinematography. Like it felt like I was watching the movie. The way the fight scenes were
love it.
choreographed, like I could really see each action and what was happening. It was pretty cool that way.
Ooh, love a good monster fight.
Yeah, monster fights all over the place.
That's awesome.
But she has these sweet blades that like crackle with power, and she has a shield around her
Oh, she
body.
sounds
that,
so
like,
cool.
Yeah, it was really cool.
They crackle with power.
Yes. I love that
Wow.
part. I was like, here goes the blade. Crackling
That's
again. She's
exciting.
crackling. But she
Okay.
can get burned from the, if she power burns, she can gets a little
Is there ever
intense.
like one where you're like, I don't know? I mean, obviously she's
Yeah.
got to make it, but.
Oh, yeah. And that's why I was saying it's not usually easily won because oftentimes she's like incredibly close to death afterwards or like she's gotten power burn or she's beaten up so bad that like one time she almost is dead, but she gets saved by the ghoul witch.
Cool witch.
Yeah.
Whoa.
She's pretty cool.
I wanna read
I know,
this.
you should. It's fun.
Have you read anything else by Django
Okay.
Wexler?
No.
Oh, okay. This is your first
That's
foray.
my first one that I've read by him. I really enjoyed it. I definitely would read another.
Because I think he has a couple of other
He does,
series.
yeah. I went looking, and this one does say book one of the Wells of Sorcery trilogy.
The Wells
So
of
I'm
Sorcery.
expecting
I love it.
upcoming adventure.
Sounds exciting.
All right, awesome.
Cool.
So what's up next is we're going to be back with some historical fiction titles, which we haven't picked yet. I think I will be reading The Lovely War by Julie Berry, but I'm not positive about that yet. And Courtney will be reading something.
Yeah, we just decided right before we
Yeah,
started
yeah, like
doing
35
this
minutes
that
ago.
that's what we're going to do. So I don't know what I'm going to read yet, but
We'll see. It
It'll
will
be
be
good.
historical fiction. All right. Remember, if you get a chance to answer our 3 questions, those are, what did you do or say to someone that you still cringe at?
I'm cringing now thinking about the stories I just told.
I know.
Why did I
know.
tell those?
I'm sorry.
Oh, God, it makes me sound awful. Okay. Is there a moment when you wished you would have stood up more fiercely for something or somebody?
What was your most prized possession as a teen? And that one wasn't that bad.
No, that one was fine.
All right. And likewise, if you have any questions about reading recommendations or library life, please write to us at teentitletalk@gmail.com, and we'll read a few of our listener responses next time.
Thank you for joining us for Teen Title Talk. This podcast is brought to you by the Derry Public Library and DCAM, Derry Community Access Media. Our theme was created and performed by Banded Starling. Until next time,
Bye.
bye.